What's good, everyone? It's your boy Nazi with another video for the channel. Welcome back to DMV Sports Zone. And I got my boy Rio on here once again from the Rambling with Rio podcast. Great content creator in our Washington Commanders now community. Rio, how are you doing? And let the good people out there who might not know who you are know about all your channels or your content.
Hey, man, Commander Rio checking in, man. Rambling with Rio is the YouTube channel at Rio_Robinson91 is where you can find me on social media. We keep things fun, unfiltered, raw, and we have a good time on the channel, and we keep up with everything Washington Commanders. Still getting used to it. But, you know, let's go, man. There's no excuse. It's year 3 of Ron Rivera. It's time for this team to make the playoffs and have a 10-win season.
For sure. And before getting into the drama that surrounds this Commanders team and obviously the on-the-field product as well, I want to get into some lighthearted discussion about the cherry blossom unis from the Nationals and Wizards. I know we sort of had a back and forth via direct message and stuff, but like, what are your thoughts on the unis, thoughts on the Nationals? I mean, their uniforms in particular going off in the MLB shop, and a lot of people already buying the jerseys and stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, yeah, them Jones came and went real fast, like a shoe release. Like, them Jones are crazy. They're fire. Yeah. Like the cherry blossom. Like, I've never been like a cherry blossom festival type person, but the merch looks brilliant. I love the Wizards and the National stuff. I wish we could have got a curly W cherry blossom thing instead of the more script. Like, I think you brought up that you didn't like the font as much on the
I've come around it though. It
looks good though.
Yeah,
it looks phenomenal, and I need to see every DC team get some cherry blossom gear now, because I can see us throwing in some pink and stuff with like our black jerseys and making some fire cherry blossom stuff. I love it, man. I love what they're doing with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only issue, though, if like the Commanders were to have a cherry blossom uni, is that they wouldn't be able to rock it when the cherry blossoms are out and stuff, right? Like, because, you know, we would be talking about the spring, they'll be playing in the fall and the winter. So I guess like that would be a different situation, right? Where the Wizards and the Nationals could rock their jerseys, but
it would just be a money grab just to sell.
Yeah. Totally agree with you on that. Shout out to the people who are already in the chat. Brown Boy Sports Talk, Abdullah. All my homies hate Dan Snyder. What's up, fellas? Outlaw King, Patrick West as well. Yeah, so let's talk about the drama. So, U.S. Congress House and Oversight Committee looking into allegations of financial improprieties per Liz Clark and Paul Kane. Thoughts on that news that sort of broke today and the surrounding investigation of this team?
When are we not under investigation?
Yeah.
When you're a football team owned by Dan Snyder, you're not allowed to have 1 week where you're not in a headline, whether it's being raided by the DEA and FBI mid-season for your head athletic trainer, whether it's 40 plus women claiming sexual misconduct and improprieties over the last 20 years. It is always something with Daniel the Dweeb Snyder. It doesn't surprise me. And for everybody who feels, oh, this is it, this could be what finally gets Dan out of here, it won't be. This dude's going to live to be 100. He's going to own this team, and he's going to pass it to his son when he goes. We're never going to be rid from him. We're going to have to learn to somehow win in spite of him. And it's very unfortunate that we have to deal with this guy.
Yeah, and like we said before we went on, he's definitely holding something against the other owners in this league, because I just don't understand how they could let a guy like Dan Snyder still remain owner and still, you know, operate a franchise that is constantly in controversy, constantly in drama. I feel like that's a negative for the NFL brand, but I mean, like, do you agree with that? Like, I mean, like, he has to be holding something against the other owners.
He has to know where all the bodies are buried league-wide, because there's no reason why the other owners, the owners, like, the whole league is set up in a way that protects the shield. And the shield is the 32 owners. Goodell works for the 32 owners. So if you vote one guy out, Dan is the most petulant person in the NFL. He's going to take everyone off the highway with him. He's going to take everyone to the hell with him if he's sent out. So that's why I feel like we're never going to see him go anywhere, because more owners are going to have to be held accountable, and they don't believe in accountability. The only people that are expendable are coaches and players.
Yeah. Do you think though that this was the news that broke earlier in the week, before all this drama from today, but Roger Goodell saying that Dan Snyder still does not have control over day-to-day operations, while there are some reports that he has had day-to-day control over certain aspects of the organization. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And does that just add to like the dumpster fire that is, I guess like Washington's organization of past, but also kind of a present too.
I mean, we just saw him on 2/2/22 unveiling the team name. That looks like a day-to-day operation to me. Like,
yeah.
Like, I understand that. I just seen him passing out stuff to the Ukraine. Like, he's doing the same thing. Like, they're still sneaking him into games on Sundays and they're sneaking him into the owner box. We're not going to ever get away from the dweeb. Roger Goodell's trying to save face, but ultimately they're not going to do anything with him because billionaire owners aren't held accountable at the clip that they hold these players and stuff accountable. Yep. And that's the world that we live in, man. It's crazy what money and power can buy you.
Yep. And there's constant talk about how Tanya Snyder has taken over control of the organization and stuff, but at the end of the day, I mean, I agree with you. He's lurking, if he's not up there, like, facing the media, or, we don't see pictures of him and stuff, he's always lurking behind the scenes. So I definitely agree with you there. But I
feel bad for Tanya too. I've met her a couple of times. She's the sweetest woman. She's accessible. She walks around. She talks to everyone that walks past her, shakes your hand, takes a picture with you. She's everything Dan has never been as the face of the franchise, and I just feel so bad for her that is who she chose to spend her life with. But hey, that's her.
Yep, agreed. Ron Rivera's press conference from Tuesday, the league owners meetings, he said that Cole Holcomb will likely at least get some snaps at Mike linebacker in our defense. They're still trying to figure that situation out. I heard a little bit of your thoughts on last night's live stream on your channel, but can you talk a little bit more about your thoughts on Holcomb being that Mike linebacker for us, and whether you think, he can man that position, or if he's better served at outside linebacker?
I don't think the starting Mike linebacker's on the roster yet. I think we got a weak side backer and a strong side backer in Jamin Davis and Holcomb. And just like the Jamin Davis experiment, we cannot be forcing a square peg in a round hole. Let's stop forcing these guys to be something they're not, and just find someone. Like, there are still veteran options available that you could start at Mike, man. Like, no,
not Bobby Wagner anymore, though.
Of course not, because the Rams, who have infinite money, and they just go for it, bro. I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Edge, man. What is a draft pick? What is a salary cap? Like, I love it. Good for them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you, man. Like, it's just crazy. Like, they got like all these all-stars on defense and on offense. They work their way around the salary cap, and like they're contending, right? Like, do you think we'll ever get to that point, like, where we can
one day we're gonna one day see this team win 11 games? Me and you have never seen this team win 11 games, bro. It's never happened in our lifetime. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, like, fans want a Super Bowl, want a NFC Championship berth, but like, 11 wins, man. We haven't even reached that threshold. Like, that's
man. That I'll take it. Like, bro, I would love to see us lose in the NFC Championship game, because you know what? It means we got there. Like, bro, we've won one playoff game in 05. It's 2022. Like,
yeah. And I think Rico mentioned we would like the playoff rules to actually apply to us as well, the new overtime rules. But yeah.
Full ain't a Mike though. I'm not. We don't need to fool ourselves. I don't believe too much coaches and GMs say at this time of year, because they say a lot of things and they don't want to give up a competitive advantage. They're gonna praise the players on the roster, and say all kinds of stuff. Don't take it as gospel.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think though that we could draft a Mike linebacker, or do you think we're better served going after a veteran?
I think there needs to be a veteran in the room. That's why I hate that we weren't involved with Wagner, because they could use a mentor in the room. But yeah, we could definitely draft one. I like a Chad Muma or Leo Chenal later in the draft. I'm definitely not taking one in the first round. And if you think
not a Devin Lloyd,
if you think we should take off-ball backer 2 years in a row in the first round, bless your heart. Hell no.
okay, that's fair. That's a fair take, especially after what we saw from Jamin Davis last year. But okay, what are your thoughts on Rivera saying that Chase Young is reportedly going to be in Ashburn throughout the offseason, or he learned his lesson from last year and will be a part of more of like the voluntary periods of the offseason program? Like, thoughts on that? And also, do you think Chase is going to have a bounce back year this year? Because, he did get injured last year, but I said it before and I'll say it again. He had 1.5 sacks through 9 games.
Yep. And that is not good or generational at all. Like, honestly speaking, the biggest story around this team for 2022 is not Carson Wentz. It's Chase Young. We drafted him as the second pick in a draft that we now see was missed out on Justin Herbert to be a generational edge rusher. He had 1.5 sacks through 10 weeks of a season last year. We sit here and laugh at signing a depth piece like F.A. Obata when he's had the same production as Chase over the last 2 seasons as a depth piece. He has to prove to be the stalwart bookend that we took at number 2 this year, on and off the field. He needs to be a leader. He needs to be the first one in. He needs to be at OTAs. He doesn't need to be shooting eBay commercials when the team is in Ashburn putting in work. I need to see it. And year 3, that boy better get to double-digit sacks and show some production, or we're gonna have problems, man. It's gonna be another huge miss and stain on the organization. He is the biggest story coming out of here in 2022, in my opinion, even bigger than Carson Wentz, because him breaking out could really change how good we can be, because having someone that can give us a Bosa type production, that changes everything.
Yep, I agree with you. And having not just a guy, that maybe underwhelms, right, in terms of his production, but also having 2 straight hometown products, like not living up to their draft status, not living up to like our expectations originally, obviously with Haskins, which whole different story, but with Chase, right, like that would not work well with our fan base. But no, I agree with you. I mean, the 1.5 sacks, I know there's probably going to be somebody in the chat that says, oh, sacks don't tell you the full story, and they're gonna
a lot in this story.
Yeah, exactly. And like, a lot of people like to refer back to my opinions on like Jonathan Allen over the last couple of years, and me like being, I've been super high on him like for 2 years now. And I always talk about how sacks don't really mean too much for an interior defensive lineman, but we're talking about an edge rusher where sacks is like the number 1 stat, right? Like,
that's 4-3, a 4-3
exactly.
edge rusher where sacks are. I'm watching dudes like Azeez Ojulari outproduce Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Like, no, that's not okay.
Unacceptable. Yep. I agree with you. There. Shout out once again, people in the comments.
What up, Tim?
Tim right here. I think it's good for leadership to be there with the team. I think that speaks to Rio's point at middle linebacker. Could it take Herbert? I mean, hindsight's 2020. Yeah. I think
Young was
exactly. And everybody was talking about us getting Tua at number 2 and not Herbert. So again, hindsight's 2020 there. What are your thoughts on the secondary, though? I think it was Big Doug who, I mean, our last couple of days has talked about how our depth at cornerback is not looking too good. We obviously have William Jackson. We have Kendall Fuller, who was the 5th rated PFF cornerback last year. I think that needs to be talked about a little bit more.
But it's because he had a great second half of the season.
Exactly.
Terrible
in the first half.
Oh my God. He didn't even look like he belonged on the field the first 7 weeks of the season, but he
Yeah.
finished the season strong. And the secondary does need to be able to cover for more than 2 seconds. We need to utilize William Jackson's actual strengths and not press it. Like, we can't make him be a zone corner. Like, we're doing that thing we did with Josh Norman where we're forcing a guy because we paid him to be something he's not.
Yeah.
And man, we got to do better. And on the back end, I need, like, Curl he's a monster. Bobby McCain ended the season pretty good, but it all starts up front for us. We used 4 first-round draft picks. I need them to live up to their draft status at this point because John Allen's doing it.
Yep, he is. But okay, so you mentioned Bobby McCain. This is a little bit further down on the agenda, but I mean, how would you grade Bobby McCain's season from last year? Because I know our guy Protech, right, Tone from Protech Sports Network, did not like his overall production throughout the year, and was not too fond of our re-signing. And I think a lot of fans out there thought we could have gotten an upgrade at free safety. But I mean, do you think that his interception number, 4 interceptions, especially 2 against Jake Fromm in Week 18 against the New York Giants last year, do you think that's a little fluky? Doesn't tell you the whole story about what he brought to the table last year?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't tell you the whole story. I'd give him, like, for what we paid him and asked him to do, he can get a B- C+ grade on the season. But I mean, he's better than what we've had at free safety for a while. But I think we could still take one in the draft, like a natural free safety, and we could do a lot of 3 safety looks with Curl McCain and someone else. Like, if I don't want a defensive player at 11, like, if Kyle Hamilton's there, I would totally understand if we took him there and he would be the starting free safety. You could move him around however you want to see fit. He would be the best free safety we had since Sean Taylor. But yeah, Bobby McCain's numbers are deceiving. Like, don't let that 4 picks make you think that was an elite safety. But I think our safety pairing is the least of our worries on the defensive side of the ball. And their upgrade from what Landon Collins was giving us as a safety.
Yeah, that's fair. If anything, I think his interception number helped him when it came to the negotiation table, right? Getting a couple more million on his recent contract that he just signed with us. But I will let me ask you about this. So we're talking about safety here. Bobby McCain, Cameron Curl. What are your thoughts on Daxton Hill from University of Michigan, I believe, safety, who right now is projected as a late first rounder. Potentially we could scoop him up in the second, but I don't know about that. Thoughts on, like, maybe bringing him over to our defense and sort of helping us there. Maybe even trading back up into the first round or trading down to the late stage of that round.
I'm definitely not making any type of trade for safety, but I like Daxton. But as far as free safety goes in the draft, the 3 guys I got my eyes on, or if we go in the first round, Kyle Hamilton, and after the first round, Nick Cross from Maryland and Jaquan Brisker from Penn State. Those guys look like the rangy middle fielder, deep end safeties. Like, because we need a true free safety. My guy Jalen from Bleeding BNG, he has a great comp for Kyle Hamilton. And his comp for them is he's both safeties of the Legion and Boom and put in one person. He's Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor put into one super player at safety. I would not mind having that on the defense. I would just rather go with offense in the first round. But I think there's definitely some natural, true free safeties. Unlike Tim said, we could put McCain down in the slot because we don't really have a slot corner right now because Fuller's not good at being a slot anymore. He doesn't have the speed to keep up. He doesn't have the short area quickness to keep up anymore in the slot. So there's some options there for free safety.
Yeah, the 4.7, I believe it was 4.7 40-yard dash. That doesn't scare you off from Kyle Hamilton at all?
No, because he was running like an alligator. Like, he runs like he was running in zigzags, bro. Like, he doesn't know how to run straight. He has like the worst sprinting technique I've ever seen a high-level athlete have. You watch the tape, that man is going end to end as fast as any player on the field, no matter where they lined him up. he is just all over the place. If he falls in the draft, he's gonna go to a place like Baltimore, and he's gonna be he's gonna be a gold jacket player, and people are gonna feel ridiculous. Just like Michael Parsons shouldn't have lasted as long as he did in the class last year. Go ahead and let him fall and watch what a good team does with him.
Yeah, that would be insane, man. Kyle Hamilton in Baltimore.
Yep, next to Marcus Williams, like, my God.
My gosh. Okay, let's get into the Carson Wentz discussion.
Commander Carson.
Commander Carson. Let me ask you this question first. So, how much of an upgrade do you think Carson Wentz is over Heineke? Let's start there.
Significant.
Okay.
Significant upgrade. Like, we went from having a bottom 5 quarterback in the league to a top half of the league quarterback.
Okay.
Taylor Heineke is a great guy and a great story. He has no business starting for any franchise in the NFL, and I mean that wholeheartedly and vehemently. He should not be. There's a reason why he entered the league in 2015, undrafted, has played in the XFL, and was on his sister's couch as of 2 years ago. There's a reason for that, and there's a reason why a 6'6", 240-pound quarterback with a cannon went number 2 in the draft and was able to get a 4-year, $128 million extension in his career. So there's not really a comparison between the two, despite what they've produced in the league.
Yeah. I mean, talent-wise, I agree with you 1,000%. Carson Wentz, much better talent than Taylor Heineke. I mean, we both talked about throughout the season that Heineke just has a noodle arm, right? That can only get you so far in the NFL.
Limited.
But so I get that. I really do. But, you know, we talk about how our roster last year was depleted, whether it be COVID, which, if we're going to be honest, was sort of self-inflicted because, I mean, I talked about last offseason how, you know, a lot of our guys were not vaccinated. And that's a whole story for another day. But in terms of our roster, right, it being depleted, and obviously we had, you know, the tragic situations surrounding DeShazer Everett and Montez Sweat and his brother and stuff. And I get that. And we still won 7 games. Carson Wentz, in my opinion, had a fully stocked roster last year with the Indianapolis Colts.
He didn't though. Their line was hampered the whole season. Their line was hampered from COVID and injuries. Their line was a bottom 5 line in the league because it was
also a bottom 5 or top 5 in terms of holding, or in terms of opening up lanes for their rushing attack as well. Yep. Like, I know everybody talks about the pass protection, but in my opinion, the quarterback's best friend is the rushing attack, a strong rushing attack.
But he also needs time to throw the ball, and he did not have that. Their pass protection was terrible because their whole squad was hampered by COVID and injuries last year. They had one receiver worth a damn on offense, and they tried to make Carson Wentz be a game manager when that's not his game at all. And he managed to still put up 27-7 and almost 4,000 yards in a season where he started and ended the season bad. But during the weeks 4 through 11, he was a top 5 quarterback during that 8-week span of the season. So there's good and there's bad with Carson, but he's the best, most talented quarterback we've had here in a while.
Yeah, again, I'm not disagreeing with you on the talent aspect, but I mean, he still had a leading rusher, over 1,800 yards last season. Colts receiver, obviously Michael Pittman Jr. is not Terry McLaurin. I think we can all agree on that. Still went over 1,000 yards. Colts defense gave up 8th fewest points in the league last year. In my opinion, they had a better roster last year, even with their injuries, their COVID situation. So my stance here is that even with that situation, and also you can't factor out, you know, Frank Reich and the fact that he wanted to bring in there to Indianapolis and all that. Mm-hmm. They still won only 2 games more than us last year, right? And I think he's going to, while our defensive line is probably better, probably more talented. I mean, our running back, we love Antonio Gibson, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. I think very few backs out there are Jonathan Taylor. Our receiver situation, I would say, is better. Offensive line, probably better. But, like, do you think he is going to get us from the 7-win mark to the 10, 11 win mark, that's, you know, almost a guarantee for the playoffs now. Like,
Yeah,
is he that much of an upgrade for you?
Yeah, yes, and we have no choice but for him to be, because we used draft capital and consumed his $28 million contract, meaning Ron sees him as more than a bridge option here. Ron sees that he could be the guy for the foreseeable future here, and whether anyone agrees with that or not, he's auditioning to be our long-term starter here. He's 29 years old. He's going into his 29-year-old season, and
Yeah.
He did what he did last year on 2 sprained ankles. Yes, the sprained ankles were on him because he has to let a play die and learn to do such. But he fits what our offense does better than he fits what Indianapolis wanted him to do. Indianapolis tried to make a game manager out of a gunslinger, and that's not what you do. And he managed to still put up decent numbers. His numbers are going to be inflated here. He's going to throw more interceptions. He's going to throw more touchdowns. He's going to throw for more yards here because Scott Turner is going to give him more responsibility. He didn't even have a lot of games with 35-plus passing attempts, and he's a volume thrower. So you're asking a dude to make a little bit happen when the team is basically running around a running back. That's not going to be the case here because Gibson's he's not Jonathan Taylor, you know? And if we draft a receiver in the first round, Carson has no reason not to thrive in this situation. And if he does, he's clearly not that guy.
Okay. How much do you think Wentz in DC will help Terry's overall production this year?
He should be able to put the best numbers up of his career. He can actually run and catch a ball in stride now. He has a guy that's going to give him more jump ball opportunities, even though he's already the leading in contested catches in the league. He has a guy that we can open the playbook up and can throw outside the boundaries. Like Heineke, there was so many plays we could not run because he didn't trust his arm, because he didn't have the arm to throw outside the numbers and the boundaries. Like, this dude has a cannon. He's going to take chances, and I always will take a quarterback that lives dangerous over the safe game managing type of guys. So I'm going to ride with Carson, and he has a lot riding on this. This could be his last opportunity as a starter in this league. He's familiar with the division. He's 8 in the division, despite the fact that he wasn't playing with any good receivers really in Philadelphia. He took that team to the playoffs by himself in 2019 with Greg Ward catching passes from him. And his season was cut short because Jadeveon Clowney had a dirty hit on him that knocked him out the playoff game. Like, we've seen good Wentz. His highs are great. His lows are like, what are you doing and why are you throwing the ball with your left hand? I hope he
end zone.
Left-handed pass here. But I am for it, and I'm ready to see him take helm and take command of the offense here. No pun intended.
Okay. This is a little off topic, but it still relates back to Terry. So you mentioned B&G earlier. So I think it was on his podcast, he basically talked about how I think Terry was the #1 guy in the 2019 draft class in terms of at the receiver position and stuff. Do you agree with that take, or do you think a guy like Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, like one of those guys are rank above him?
Like coming out or right now?
Right now, like in terms of like what we've seen thus far in the NFL.
I think Deebo is the best weapon out of the group, but as a pure receiver, what Terry has done is impressive, if not more impressive than all of them. He's like the most technically sound of the group. He's the best route runner of the group, and he's managed to keep pace in statistically, despite the fact that he's played with 1,000 quarterbacks in 3 years. So yes, I'm going to agree with that. And he should be getting a 4-year, $95 million deal sometime in June or July. I expect the deal to get done before camp. We usually do business in the summertime. Don't pump your brakes, guys. We're not trading Terry McLaurin, and we're not letting him out the building. He's one of the building blocks, foundational pieces of the franchise. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think what you said at the top, very well said. I think in terms of weapon, Deebo Samuel, I'll probably take him. He was a big reason why the 49ers, went to the NFC Championship game, even with the Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. But in terms of pure receiver, I would agree with you there. I think Terry definitely has him. David DC got to meet Terry McLaurin in person and wish him well for 2022. He looks like a $20 million. I think $20 million is is too short, I think, for Terry McLaurin based off of the wide receiver market this offseason.
Christian Kirk just threw the whole market away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, man, never has had a 1,000-yard season and
Never.
signed for $19 million a year, 18
You,
million.
bro, it's 4 years, 84 million, bro. Like that's 21 million dollars a year to have never had 1,000-yard season. But do you agree with the Jags overspending on players this to try to bring talent in and surround their young quarterback with talent, or do you think that that's a recipe for failure?
I mean, they've tried it before. They've tried it recently too, and it has tended to be a recipe for failure, right? But at the same time, I also think like that's the only way you're going to bring in talent in Jacksonville, right? If you're not going to draft the guys, you're going to have to overspend to bring top flight guys there. But like at the same time, was there really a rush to sign Christian Kirk like at the beginning of free agency? Couldn't you wait to see how the wide receiver market played out first to see, what Kirk would probably command on the market? Like that contract, man, it's gonna look bad. It's gonna.
Yeah, they bet against themselves and just I don't know what they're gonna be very disappointed when he's putting up mid wide receiver 2 numbers as getting 20 million a year. Bless their hearts, man.
Yeah. But the one move though, and I think we'll disagree on this, that I liked a lot was
Brandon Sheriff.
them bringing over my guy Brandon Sheriff. Yes, yes.
No, that's the right move to them. They're protecting Sunshine. They're protecting their investment. I thought their best signing was that or the linebacker Foye Oluokun. That's a guy I wanted. That's a guy I wanted here. Like that was a great signing. Like he's nice.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And so back to like the Wentz to DC and how much it will help Terry McLaurin. Let me ask you this. So Wentz in recent years, and when I say recent years, I really just mean last year. And I know this very much because I had Jonathan Taylor on my fantasy team, and I realized that Wentz did not like throwing Jonathan Taylor the ball out of the backfield. How do you think Wentz his addition here in DC will affect the production of J.D. McKissic, right? Because J.D. McKissic, while we kind of like him as a runner, he makes his money catching balls out of the backfield. Like we brought him over or we retained him. Thoughts on like their connection and whether McKissic will have much of a role in this offense with Wentz at the helm?
McKissic will always have a role in the offense because Scott Turner's offense predicates that. Yes, the quarterback change makes your scheme a little different because Wentz is a push the ball down the field kind of guy. But I mean, Naheem Hines was still eating as a pass catching running back. Wentz still did throw about 30% of his passes to running backs last year. Like I said, they had him playing a style of football that's not his style of football. And Naheem Hines still did numbers as a third down back for that team. I think J.D. McKissic is on par, if not better than Naheem Hines. So I think he's going to do fine here. And I'm glad he came back, and bless his heart for choosing us over a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. That's definitely true. Definitely true. Okay. So I'm going to push back though, because you keep saying that, Carson Wentz, Indianapolis did not have him playing the type of system or the type of way that, he's most comfortable with or that he can most excel in. But when was the last time that's happened? Was it 2020 when the Eagles were
2019.
2019?
2020 is the only outlier on his career. It's really the only bad season he's had as a professional football player. Like he had a terrible season that year, 16-14. He was a turnover machine. For people that like to tell me that he's an interception machine, that's really the only year outside of his rookie year where he had double-digit interceptions. He's a 6 to 8 pick guy a year. Like that's not what he does. And that is the one bad season. He had a fragile mental coming off of getting a 4-year, $128 million deal and them drafting a mid-ass quarterback in the second round of that draft in Jalen Hurts. And it flamed out for him. That year is the outlier on his career, though. That's really the only bad season he's had here and had in his career.
Okay. Where do you rank Wentz in the NFC East quarterback crop? Do you have him first, second, third?
Second. Like there's
over Hurts?
He's better than Hurts and Daniel Jones. Hurts has never thrown for 20 touchdowns in a season. We can't put him over Carson Wentz.
Okay, but when you account for his rushing ability,
he's
you talk about his mental toughness. I'm going with Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is a running back playing quarterback. He hasn't proved otherwise yet.
I mean, he led the Eagles to the playoffs last year, right?
Carson Wentz threw for more touchdowns last year than Hurts combined in his first 2 years in the league.
Okay, but from what we saw last year, I would say Carson Wentz. Again, we're talking about rosters, right? I would think the Eagles were a better roster than the Colts last year?
No. Wentz was better than Hurts last year.
Okay, but Hurts led his team to the playoffs.
Hurts led his team to play. Okay, but they're in different situations, though. Like come on, we almost swept the Eagles with Garrett Gilbert and Taylor Heineke. We had them both games with 2 trash quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts threw for 16 touchdowns and started a whole season last year. We're not going to act like he's Lamar Jackson. If anything, he's Dollar General on sale bargain bin Lamar Jackson. He has not proved that he's a bottom 7 passer in the NFL. Like, his running ability doesn't put him over Carson Wentz as a quarterback in the league, to me.
Okay. I mean,
again, I can argue Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Yes, because he's a better quarterback. He's a better passer, thrower of the football. He can run too.
But for me, being a quarterback, it's not just about talent or passing talent. It's not about arm talent. It's about all the intangibles that come with it, right? The mental toughness. I would say Jalen Hurts, the total package when it comes to his mental toughness, his rushing ability, which I don't discount. And sure, his passing ability is definitely not as good as Carson Wentz and maybe even as good as Daniel Jones. But I think when you take into consideration all those factors, I would rather have Jalen Hurts than Carson Wentz, because I think Jalen Hurts is a winner and he did not have as good of a roster. I think everybody's forgetting this. Going into last season, everybody was talking about how the Colts roster was a Super Bowl contending roster, and they just needed a quarterback to plop into that situation and potentially get them to where they wanted to go. And they got to 9 wins last year. Are we not going to, they had two opportunities, win or go in pretty much opportunities for the playoffs. They lost both of those opportunities. I get that one of them was against
the Raiders and the Jags. They always lose to the Jags in Jacksonville. Though. Was it Wentz's fault the 6 years prior? They haven't beat them there in 7 years. Was those Wentz's fault as well? Is it Wentz's fault that team has had a new quarterback every season of Frank Reich's tenure there? Was that Wentz's fault as well?
No.
Jalen Hurts has not shown that he could be a good NFL quarterback yet.
But how though? He led the Eagles to the playoffs last year.
16 touchdowns in 17 games.
But what about almost 700 rushing yards and 6 or 7 rushing touchdowns?
Do I want to put him in the backfield and run wildcat with him every play? Baker's a better quarterback than him. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than him.
I disagree with.
He's not a good quarterback. He honestly has had 1 year in his whole football career as a good quarterback, and that was playing for quarterback whisperer Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma. He was a running back playing quarterback in Alabama, and he's been that for the Eagles so far. He's not a good passer of the football. I don't even think Hurts is going to be a starting quarterback in 3 years. I don't see it, bro. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts.
I don't know. I mean, I would say Daniel Jones definitely plays better against us than Jalen Hurts for sure. As
a quarterback, you're going to have to win with your arm in this league. When is Hurts going to win with his arm in this league? Because
he doesn't have to.
He does. He
didn't have to last year to make the playoffs.
They made the playoffs. Congrats. We made the playoffs at 7-9 the year before. What did that do for us?
That's fair. That's a fair take.
Teams make the playoffs. Has he shown any ability to win with his arm?
But let me ask you this. Going into last season, was anybody thinking that the Eagles were going to make the playoffs? I think a lot of us, even in the content creator community, were thinking they're probably going to be 4th place or 3rd place.
Oh, nobody thought they were going to, but we're not going to act like Jalen Hurts put the team on his back and took him there, because he didn't.
I mean, he didn't.
He did.
But he was a big reason why they made it.
He did not. Devontae Smith would have done crazy numbers if he had a quarterback that can get him the ball more consistently. He's not accurate at all. He has not shown any ability to win with his arm. I love the athleticism. I hear people comparing Malik Willis coming out to Jalen Hurts. Malik Willis, who is a raw prospect, he's on a different level than Jalen Hurts as a passer. Like Jalen Hurts hasn't shown that to me yet.
Okay. I mean,
to me personally, I'm not. I think he's the 4th ranked quarterback in the division.
Okay. I'll say this: my rankings. I would put Dak at 1. I mean,
easy.
Yeah. I know Mr. Colin Cowherd put Carson Wentz at 1, but like, I mean, he's had a man crush on Carson Wentz for years now, so I don't really.
I
take that with a grain of salt.
Dak is at the level right under elite, so I don't even think there's a question of who the best quarterback in the division is. Like that's
yeah. But I mean, then after that, I would say Daniel Jones is last. But after that, I don't know. I think one can make the argument that Jalen Hurts is better than Carson Wentz, because while Carson Wentz has the talent, at the end of the day, I'm all about wins. And Carson Wentz had a roster last year that maybe people might not think was.
They won the same amount of games, bro. Like, and he produced more. Like,
but the Colts also had a better roster though, and they were expected to win more games.
On paper don't mean nothing in this league. Jalen Hurts has not shown the ability to do it yet as a quarterback at all. Like, dude, he has to show me that he can win with his arm in this league. Lamar Jackson has a great balance of both, because we've seen him win with his arm, even though his freak athleticism is how he thrives in this league, bro. Like, I don't see Jalen Hurts being better than like a Baker Mayfield right now.
Okay. I guess we can leave it there, but we shall see, right? Carson Wentz is back in the division. He's going to be playing Jalen Hurts twice. So we'll see. We'll see who wins out in that argument. But let me get to your thoughts on Washington's overall lack of inactivity this free agency period, because I believe there's a comment from earlier in the stream that sort of touched on this. But I reached out to you talking about this. I think this roster outside of quarterback has gotten worse. Like, am I the only one that thinks that? Like, in terms of Sure, we made up for the Eric Flowers loss, right, with Andrew Norwell. I don't think we made up for the Brandon Sheriff loss. Oh, everybody's gonna say Wes Schweitzer is a capable backup.
No, I think Wes Schweitzer can. Brandon Sheriff is not as good as you think he is, bro. Brandon Sheriff is not as good as you think he is, bro. Brandon Sheriff whiffs a lot. He gets a lot of penalties and he holds, bro. He's not that great he's not Quentin Nelson, bro.
I'm not saying he's Quentin Nelson. All I'm saying is that our offense our run game is much better when Brandon Sheriff is in the lineup. Like, I don't know if stats can show you that, but like in terms of the eyeball test, obviously we watched the entire games and all that. Like, I just think there are more holes that open up in the rushing game for Antonio Gibson to run through when Brandon Sheriff's in the lineup. And pass protection, I think, he's a capable pass protector. But I think we can agree that he was not worth the money. And, he's with the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is what it is. But even when you look on the defensive side of the ball, our defensive line depth has been depleted, right? With no more Tim Settle, no more Matt Ioannidis. Again, a lot of us wanted an upgrade at free safety. We did not get that upgrade. Instead, we sort of doubled down and paid Bobby King.
The draft hasn't happened yet, so we don't know.
I know. Obviously, yes, for sure. I'm not saying that this roster is gonna, it's gonna stay as is post draft, right? I'm just saying right now, are we? I mean, and this goes back to the whole Carson Wentz thing, because I know you're probably gonna say that this roster is better than it was in February because of the fact that we had Carson Wentz. Yes. But is it that much better where we're gonna win 9, 10, 11 games? Like, I got us winning 9 games this year with the roster as is. We don't know what's going on with the draft. But
I got us winning 10. I think we're gonna go 10-7 and
make the playoffs.
We upgrade. Yes, of course. Yeah, I think we have to. We have no choice but to make the playoffs this year, because it could go.
I'm not saying
we go really off the rails if we don't make the playoffs. I think we're gonna win 10 games. I don't care about the whole we have the easiest schedule in the league. There's no such thing as an easy schedule in this league. The parity is crazy. The Jags beat the Colts and the Bills last year. Like, bro, the NFL is hard, but upgrading at the most important position on the roster, is the one reason right now why the roster is significantly better. And we added an edge depth guy who's produced very well for a backup. Like, he's outproduced our bookend pass rusher. So, I mean, the roster, we lost some key pieces, but we upgraded at the most. We have a professional NFL quarterback now, and that's going to make all the difference. He's not the guy we wanted. We wanted Russell Wilson. We wanted Deshaun Watson. We wanted Aaron Rodgers. We wanted Derek Carr. That's not in the cards for us. So that was the next best option out there. Don't give me Jimmy G, Mariota, Mitch Trubisky, none of that. Carson Wentz is better than all of them.
Definitely not Mitch Trubisky, bro. Definitely not Mitch Trubisky. But okay, so what positions on this team do you think we most need to address in this NFL draft next month?
Weapons, offense, receiver. I'm almost to the point where no matter how the board looks, I'm taking a receiver at 11 because you go all in on a quarterback. You need to give him everything. Like, we get quarterbacks and we don't put them in the best position to just succeed, bro. Like, we need weapons. Like, I draft a wide receiver in the first round. I take one of those Buckeyes at 11 and then take a tight end in the second round. Like, that's how much I would be predicated on building the offense. You see how good he played with Ertz and Goddard? Like, pair up Logan Thomas with Isaiah Likely or Trey McBride. And after taking a receiver round one and the offense is set, all they got to do is protect him. And the offense is, if he can't succeed with that, it's just a failure. And I wouldn't be mad if we took Jameson Williams, even with the injury, because without the injury, he's probably the best receiver in the draft easily.
Yep. And there were reports, a specific report from NFL.com that said that his timetable for the injury was 5 to 7 months from the time he sustained it in the national championship game. So if that's the case, then he should probably be ready by, if not the preseason, then the regular season. And, drafting a Jameson Williams at 11, when a lot of scouts out there said that he was the wide receiver one in this class when healthy, I mean, that would be pretty dynamic, right? Alongside Terry.
The injury I just need a guy that can develop chemistry with Carson Wentz right now. That can go run routes with him in May. They can go build cohesion with the rest of the receiving room. Like, I think if I had to put money on it, I think we're going to draft Chris Olave with the 11th pick.
Okay. DC all day saying secondary. I like Derek Stingley a lot.
Love Stingley. He's better than Sauce Gardner. I'm with you.
Yeah. And you heard what Fred Smoot had to say about Stingley as well.
Inspirational, yeah.
He had 6 interceptions freshman season. He's been, a little off and on the last couple seasons, but he's also had a lot of injuries, right? The last couple of seasons. Yep. If he fell to 11, would you take him? Or would he still stick with the receiver?
I'd strongly consider him, and it depends on how the receiver board shakes out because I think Atlanta and the Jets are going to take receivers. I hope they don't both, but I think that's exactly how it's going to play. I think Atlanta and the Jets are going to take Drake London and Garrett Wilson, and we're going to draft Olave at 11. That's how I see it playing out, unless Kyle Hamilton's on the board. I like Stingley and Sauce, but I don't know if we're taking a corner. It's a position that I would understand taking at 11. I like the positional value more than receiver, but you just got to go all in on your quarterback that you acquired, man.
Okay. That's fair. How about some guys after round 1, second round or later? I know Kenneth Walker was a guy that you were high on from Michigan State.
Because I'm still not 100% sold that Antonio Gibson's an RB1 in this league, bro. I like him. He needs competition, bro. He needs competition, and he needs to show me more. His vision is not consistent. His ball security cost us games last year.
Yep, I agree with you. It seemed like every time Antonio Gibson fumbled the ball, it was on our side of the field, right? So it gave the opposing team just a couple more yards, and with you're either in field goal range or you're there to score a touchdown. So I definitely agree with you there. What about Breece Hall from Iowa State? I know you ran a 4.39, I think, in the 40-yard dash. Very comparable to Jonathan Taylor, it seems like, in terms of his.
That
lot of
boy's, I'm
trades.
telling you, man, like I couldn't be a GM. I'd be a terrible GM. I would do what Matt Rule did his first year in Carolina, but opposite. You know, they drafted all defensive players in the draft, Matt Rule's first year there. I would draft almost all offensive players, bro. I'm taking receiver round 1, running back a tight end round 2, tight end or running back round 3, guard round 5. Like, bro, I'm going crazy on the
On the
offense
offense.
because quarterback, if we want the guy that we invested in to succeed, surround him with talent and protect him, like Ron said in his interview at the owners league meetings this week.
Yeah, and Door Gunner here saying if you want to take Williams because of injury, then you don't take. Well, okay, Stingley didn't suffer a season-ending injury to the point where like he's not healthy right now, right? Like I think Stingley's healthy.
Yeah, Stingley is healthy right now. He's not. He
Yeah.
didn't tear his ACL in January. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know about that take, Door Gunner, but okay, so. And you mentioned, I think, earlier in the stream, Chad Muma, potentially a linebacker in the second.
Oh, yeah. He's the Mike we dream of here, bro. He's the green dot. He even says it like, I'm a green dot, call the defense, heartbeat of the defense type of guy. Like, if you heard any of his guys' interviews at the combine and stuff, he is what we need here. It's not Cole Holcomb, something like that. Him or Leo Chenal. Like, we need one of those guys, man. We need like an actual Mike, because it's not Jamin or Cole Holcomb, man.
Okay.
But the defense put so much into. We have 5 first-round picks, and they managed to still regress, bro. Give me offensive firepower, man. Put someone out opposite Terry that could take the attention away from him, bro. Give me a receiving core of Terry, another Buckeye, and Curtis Samuel in the slot. Give me that. Like, I need it.
You mentioned Samuel. I think somebody mentioned him earlier in the chat, but I mean, what are your thoughts on Curtis Samuel? You think he's gonna have a big season for us this year?
First of all,
I don't want to say bounce back because I mean I think he has to have a bounce back. He didn't show us anything last year, but
for starters, I just want to see him in the uniform, bro.
Yeah.
I want to see him through. I want to see him make it through camp. I want to see him make it through camp. I want to see him play football, because if he's on the field, that's a whole wrinkle to the offense that we didn't have last year. Outlaw King, I see you asked about Trey McBride. I love Trey McBride. He is my pick at 47 if he's on the board. He's a 6'7" move tight end who ran a 4.5 340 and produced on the. He looks like Kelsey Kittle type tight end, and he would probably at some point be tight end 1 here, because I love Logan Thomas. I think we overrate him as a fan base, though.
1 year of production, right?
Yeah, I like him though.
Yeah, of course.
He's coming off an ACL tear as well.
When do you think he'll be ready though? Because there's been some people who think he might not even be ready until like October, or like, you know, maybe a month and a half into the season.
I think we should play it safe with him and not rush him back and let him sit the first month of the season. He said, I'm confused. How will Samuel help the team? How do you see him helping him healthy? He could be our cheaper Deebo Samuel. Like, he can do everything. His skill set is exactly what Deebo Samuel does. Use him in the backfield, use him on jet sweeps, use him in the slot, use him on the outside. Like, he was productive his last season in Carolina. He could do a lot of things to help this offense. Like, we may not even need another running back if Curtis Samuel's healthy, because he can take carries. He can, like, I remember what he did to us in 2020 when we played Carolina. He did the nasty to us, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention. I mean, he had that one long run on the sidelines where I think he was like carrying one of our defensive backs, like almost into the end zone. Like, bro, like if he could give us that, be a huge boost for this offense. Let me ask you some big picture questions though about this team. So, I asked you about Carson Wentz, and you know, where do you rank him, the NFC East quarterbacks? Where do you believe this Commanders team stands right now in the NFC East? And how far do you think this team is from competing for a Super Bowl?
Second place in the division, wild card berth, has a chance to win a division, because I think Dallas got worse this offseason, like significantly worse. And I will not even dare speak on a Super Bowl window opening until I see us win 10 or 11 games in the season.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It ain't open yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna open that can of Kool-Aid until I see us able to win. Like, I want to see us be good throughout a season. Every time we've seen this team make the playoff, it's because of a late season surge or rush. I want to know what it feels like to be good in September. And then decent in October, and then good in November. I want our wins to stretch out through the year and not be some 7-5-4 game win streak to end the season. I want to know what it feels like to just sit back and know we're a playoff team at the beginning of the season.
Okay. Plato Rel saying, elaborate on why Cole isn't our Mike linebacker. I mean, do you want to explain a little bit more, Rio? Or I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier, but
hey, watch his 2019 tape when we were running him out there doing that. He's not that, man. He's not as instinctive and athletic as we need. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, he's not it. Like, I don't even need to go too much further. Him and Jamin have both shown why they're not our Mike, but they could be good, strong, and weak side outside backers, you know?
Fight for ODC. I don't really get this comparison between Kirk Cousins and Dak. Like, I get, obviously in terms of wins in the playoffs, I think they've had the same number of wins. But like in terms of getting your team to the playoffs, like doesn't Dak do that more than Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. I mean, Kirk produces. They produce on the same clip, though. They both honestly, they both produce for their teams every year, and I would love to have that type of production here. Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback we've had in my lifetime. I'm not gonna be emotional about it because he left and how his situation ended here. The best quarterback we've had here since I've been a fan.
Okay. I mean, I think I can agree with you on that. Outside of, obviously the 1 year of RG3 and the collapse after that. Yeah.
It was magic. It was fake though. It was, what I'm saying, it was fool's gold. We were bamboozled.
Yeah. Okay, and the last question I want to ask you, Rio, is about Ron Rivera. So he talked during his interview or presser at the league owners meeting about, how, like there should be players who want to come here to DC, right? Like he sort of was pushing back against that narrative. And I want to get your thoughts here on his overall job thus far in DC, winning 7 games, back-to-back seasons, 7-9 in 2020, winning the division, 7-10 last year. Thoughts on how he has coached this team over the last couple of years and, whether his seat is a little bit hot right now.
I don't think his seat's hot at all because he's such a respectable face league-wide. Like, fans can say what they want to. Ron's seat not hot at all. Unless they have a catastrophically worse season this year and go like 4-13, his seat's not going to be hot at all. It's not, because like he is like the one thing that's keeping this franchise even a little bit respectable right now, because nobody respects Dan Snyder. Like Ron and Jason are going to take all the heat and take all the bullets for our dumbass owner right now. You know what I'm saying? And Ron, you know what I'm saying? Ron is doing the best he can with such a toxic, terrible environment. Like, he walked into an absolute dumpster fire and has managed through cancer, through all these allegations, through a name process somehow, like he's managed to somehow right the ship. We won 7 games without an NFL starting quarterback last year. It's not something I want to hang my hat on. I don't want to hang my hat on a 7-win division crown, but bro, Ron's seat not even warm. Ron's going to, at minimum, get the 5 years of his contract. And I think he'll get more than that unless a catastrophic season takes place and we win like 5 or 4 games. He's not going anywhere, man. That man was sent here by Joe Gibbs, man. He got the endorsement of Joe Jackson Gibbs. Just like Carson Wentz got that endorsement, Gibbs played a part in the analytics and decision-making to bring Carson here. Let it play out. Let's see what they do. If Carson comes here and stinks up the joint and we win like 3 or 4 games, there are going to be a lot of hot seats because Daniel Snyder is a rash guy, but I don't even think he's nowhere near having a warm seat here.
Okay. I get that.
I think Del Rio seat get warm if that defense regresses.
Yeah. I get that, but I guess for me, I don't even think it has to get to 3-4 wins for a seat to get warm. If he produces another 7-win season, like 3 straight 7-win seasons, I think it's gonna be hard to say that his seat isn't warm, right? Like especially with us getting this upgrade that everybody's talking about in Carson Wentz, and people thinking we might be in the playoffs this year, especially after a potentially successful draft. I don't know. Do you think like if we get another 7-win season, if we're 7-10, like things won't get bad for Ron?
No, I don't think so, because I think at that point we're gonna pick around the same spot we're at right now, and we're gonna trade the farm for C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, because after 3 years of the same stuff, we would have no choice at that point but to trade everything, because at that point, year 4, there's no more future for Ron Rivera. There's right now, and you have to go out and get a franchise quarterback if Carson Wentz fails here. So a 7 wins, I'm telling you, it has to go very, very south for Ron's seat to get hot here.
Okay. I think we can agree on this from Dave and DC. No excuse on our defense. They just don't show up some games. Drives us fans crazy. So, I mean, they have all the talent. You talked about it, right? First round pick after first round pick after first round pick. Yeah, exactly. And it starts with Chase. Like we said earlier. Richard Motley here. What's up, Rio Nazi taking command tonight? Yeah, well, I think that will be it for our live stream tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining in the chat, from Dora Gunner to Brown Boy Sports Talk, Outlaw King, Mark James, Tim, Brewer Cap, everybody who joined, Kurt Smith. You guys know who you are. Thank you guys so much for joining. Rio, bro, it's great to have your insight on here, and I love the back and forth on Carson Wentz, on the drama around this team, where we see this team going. I appreciate you, bro. And anything you want to plug before we sign off?
Yeah, man, I just, I got some really, really cool, interesting draft content coming up. I'm working on 3 different things for draft week that should be very fire for the content creation. I got a Chris Olave video with my guy Josh Taylor dropping tomorrow. I'm going to do a Kyle Hamilton video sometime soon. And I appreciate chopping it up with you. You are a well-spoken, articulate, young, educated brother out here doing your thing. I love debating music and Kanye and stuff with you. Me and Nati be going at it in the DMs, man. I appreciate you. I'm proud of what you're doing, man, and keep running it up on this tube, man.
Appreciate it. I feel like I should ask you this, but and we kind of talked about this through direct message, but Team Chris or Team Will?
Huh?
Team Chris or Team Will? we got to end it off on this.
I'm going to be in the minority here. Bro, you can't walk on the stage and slap a man at the Academy Awards.
No, we agree.
Bro. Yeah, bro. I'm Team Chris, bro. Chris, bro. Like, I'm sorry, bro. I love Will Smith. He's one of my favorite entertainers, actors, people ever. Like, he's like the uncle we all have that we've never met in real life before. But, we all make mistakes. We all do something, but that was on like the biggest stage ever. You don't do that, bro. And it was just a G.I. Jane. I understand alopecia, bro. He didn't hit him with the August Alsina. Like, he
didn't go as hard as he could have. I agree.
And he started. He said, "Man, I could," and then he stopped. I was like, "Oh." His next comedy special is must see TV.
Man. No, but I agree with you, bro. I mean, I guess we're both in the minority together.
We are, man.
But yeah, thank you again for chopping it up with me. I guess for me, that's it, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the DMV Sports Zone channel, where we like to post fire content like this as much as possible. Also, go follow our Twitter page at DMV Sports Zone, Instagram page, all lowercase DMV Sports Zone, and our TikTok run by Abdullah, DMV Sports Zone as well. And the next live stream is actually on Monday. I mean, two banger live streams. We had this one with Rio, obviously the GOAT in this community. And then on Monday, we have Louis T and the real Ed Oliver. So should be another fun one. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night for sure. And see you on the next one.
Deuces.